Welcome to our Ambassador interview series. Today we have His Excellency Shiferaw Shigutie Wolassa, Ambassador of Ethiopia to Korea with us, and we are very honored that His Excellency generously took time out of his busy schedule to join us. Your Excellency, welcome, and thank you for joining us today. You arrived in Seoul in March of 2019, which was precisely 2 years ago. And I understand that you normally celebrate Ethiopia's National Adwa Victory Day in March. So please tell us about the historical significance of this day and how it was celebrated differently in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic.
Thank you very much for having me. Of course, I arrived here in January 2019, and I presented my credential to His Excellency the President of Republic of Korea in March. That's why I'm officially an ambassador on March. And we celebrated our 125th year of Adwa victory on March 2. And the importance of this victory for Ethiopians and for all oppressed people, and especially for Africans and the Black people in the world, that is colonial powers. One of the colonial powers was defeated disastrously in Adwa in March 1, 1896, and that the great inspirational event for all Ethiopians and Africans. Of course, we are an independent country, a country which was not colonized by Europeans, but for the rest of our African brothers and sisters, it was a good inspirational time to motivate all of us. And since then, we celebrate this day to motivate our new generation and to make it a flagship type of victory for our development and every movement in Ethiopia.
One of the things you probably noticed upon your arrival in Korea is that we have a lot of coffee shops here, and Koreans love coffee. It seems like they just can't seem to live without coffee, and I'm a coffee drinker myself, and Ethiopia is widely regarded as the birthplace of coffee. I'm sure you knew, but Koreans drink about 350 cups of coffee a year, which is almost 1 cup of coffee every day, nearly 3 times the global average. And we understand that in Ethiopia, coffee is traditionally considered a ceremonial affair practiced by both Christians and Muslims. And it's a medium of family and social gathering. So please tell us if there are any interesting differences you've noticed about the coffee cultures here in Ethiopia.
Well, thank you for your question about coffee. Before I directly go to your question, addressing to your question about difference of cultural difference between Ethiopia and Korea in coffee preparation and drinking, I think it is important to tell you a little bit about coffee. As you said, Ethiopia is the birthplace of coffee. It's originated from Ethiopia, and the name itself came from the Kaffa area, called Kaffa is the people in the west part of Ethiopia, and this is the birthplace of coffee. We believe that, and this coffee had a very good taste and wonderful aroma. Currently, about 40 million population of Ethiopians, their livelihood based on coffee production, processing, and export, totally in the coffee production and marketing process. And the coffee is the major export commodity for Ethiopia. And we earn our hard currency from coffee. That's the best product to export. So as you mentioned, it is a medium of gathering for Ethiopian families and neighborhood neighbors, not only families and neighbors. We drink coffee together with our neighborhood. Whenever we have guests in our homes, we invite our guests. The first invitation is coffee as a gesture of respect. So our visitors, before we give them food or other things, we invite them and we ask them, please sit down and have coffee. this is the cultural procedure
Uh-huh.
to honor a guest to a house. So this is the way how we do it. These days, the traditional coffee making process is very popular in urban areas and among young people.
Mm-hmm.
You Koreans, you drink 1 cup per day on average, 360 or 350 cups per year. But in Ethiopia, minimum 2, maximum like 5, 6 and more cups of coffee people drink per day. So we drink a lot, and we consume like 40% of our production at home.
Uh-huh.
Therefore, we have very big coffee consumption at home.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, as you said, the culture, I mean, the coffee drinking, the interest and demand is still increasing in Korea. And whenever I go, I see coffee shops, cafes, even in the cities and even in the countrysides. So this shows how the consumption is increasing very much. And we can see also the coffee export, 31% increase since 2016 to 2020 in Korea. It's not only from Ethiopia, but from all of the world. So this shows how the coffee demand and the coffee drinking culture is increasing in Korea. So the most important thing is not the difference of the cultures to how to drink and how to make coffee. The most important relation is, for me, interesting thing is the relationship between Ethiopia and Korea is we produce very good brand of coffees called like Gachafe, if you know them, Sidama coffee, Kafa coffee, Geisha coffee, Jimma coffee. These popular brands are here in Korea. And the preference of Koreans is changing from artificial type of taste, flavor, to the green coffee beans flavor. We are the best destination for this type of flavor, that the Gachafe or Sidama or Jimma or any part of Ethiopia. We have very good flavor of the green coffee beans. So we are trying to connect the Korean companies who are in the coffee production, the coffee marketing industry, to link them with a single origin coffee. That means starting from the farmer, who the farmer, how he farms his coffee, and how he processes, and then who is the exporter, with what quality coffee is processed, packed, and shipped to its final destination to Korea, and it will be roasted and distributed in the Korean market. So this is a very important and very interesting issue for us to link two countries and the current generation of Ethiopia and Korea. But still, the interesting thing is we drink hot coffee. We don't drink cold coffee, or we don't put ice in our coffee. In Korea, people put ice in their coffee. They drink cold coffee. This is another culture. We make our coffee at home. Mostly at home, of course. We drink at cafes, restaurants, hotels, or coffee shops. But basically, we drink at home. Every day when I go to my residence to lunch, I drink coffee at home. Even if there is no need, but culturally, after food, it is a customary to drink or make coffee and give to the household. So when we see in Korea, people drink coffee in shops, in convenience stores, and other places. So the place where they make, and who is making coffee for the ultimate consumer of the coffee. In our case, households. In Korean case, the market. Right. So this difference, interesting differences, how things differ here. Mm-hmm. So for me, these are the differences, but I want to stress, we are very keen to serve investors who are working in coffee industry in Korea, who want to import Ethiopian coffee, which is very organic, very good flavor, which has very good flavor and aroma, with very good connection to bring Ethiopian coffee for coffee and Korean consumers with a single origin and very good original type of flavor. So I would like to offer Korean companies to work with us and to show my sincerity and the readiness of my embassy to work with them to increase our relationship.
I mean, you're the perfect person to promote trade between the two countries, as you served as the Minister of Agriculture and Livestock previously. But please tell us a little bit more about coffee. How much? So you drink about 5-6 cups a day too?
Pardon? Can you say it again?
Yes. So do you also drink about 5-6 cups a day?
No, I of course I drink coffee with milk.
Yeah.
Maximum twice a day, 2 cups a day.
Oh, okay. So I enjoy my coffee black, but what's the best way to drink Ethiopian coffee? What's the best way to enjoy it? Do you have lattes and cappuccinos there, or do you just like to mix milk, or do you like to have your coffee sweet in Ethiopia? You know, because for example, in Southeast Asia, they have their coffee very sweet. So please advise us on how to enjoy the Ethiopian coffee in the best way.
It's depend upon from one place to another place. Mostly, we Ethiopians, we drink black coffee with salt, so not with sugar.
Interesting.
And in urban area, people drink coffee with sugar, but with minimum amount of sugar they put in their cup. Of course, we drink macchiato, and currently these days, cappuccino is becoming popular, especially in the capital. But we drink we call it macchiato. That means we put milk to our coffee and drink with it. And mostly we drink black coffee with minimum sweetness. That's good.
So let's drift apart from the trade for a little bit and talk about the defense relationship for a moment. Ethiopia was the only African country to deploy combat troops during the Korean War, and we are still very appreciative of that. And the stories about their undefeated battle record are very well known to us all. And after nearly 70 years since the outbreak of the Korean War and the alliance forged in blood between our two nations, what's the status of Ethiopia-ROK defense relations, and how do you expect this friendship to evolve going forward?
Thank you very much. The relationship between Korea is not limited to our contribution during the Korean War. And since then, of course, we became very related people. Our relation is cherished by blood and cemented by blood. Since then, we have very good diplomatic relation, and this relation became people-to-people relation, and currently it became investment exchange relationship. So when we consider the relationship of defense sector, currently we have cooperation in training, capacity building, and supplies. But I think there is a very big room to improve this relationship to higher level. And for this, your question, I can say this one, and we need to do, there is much to do.
Okay. And, you know, we learned about Lucy quite some time ago, and President Barack Obama of the United States once said at a state dinner that Ethiopia was birthplace of humankind, and Lucy is our oldest ancestor. And Lucy, you know, is the more than 3 million year old and most complete skeleton of an early human ancestor. It's a reminder that the people of the world are part of the same human family, but it's also a reminder that fairy family is largely forgotten half women. The history of women has been punctuated by various hardship, conflicts, struggles, and triumphs. and their stories have been frequently overlooked and omitted over the course of the time. And as we celebrate the Women's History Month this month, and we'd like to take this opportunity to hear from you about Ethiopia's efforts in the realm. And please, can you point us to your country's recent achievements in gender equality and women's empowerment?
Thank you very much for noting about the beginning of the people is from East Africa, and it's particularly from Ethiopia. That Lucy is our ancestor, and all of us, the complete human structure was started from East Africa, especially from Ethiopia and Afar. When we come to your women empowerment and achievement in this area, we need to see in which areas, if we evaluate the issue of gender, can address the issue of women question. The first and the most important area is access to education. For the last 2 decades, education opportunity for Ethiopian girls and women increased, especially for Ethiopian girls, was improved very much, greatly improved. Access at all levels, from primary to tertiary, is improved, but still there is which gap we need to improve. The other thing the Ethiopian government focused is improving healthcare program to improve the situation of the woman in the rural area and urban setting too. In this area, health services and health extension programs expanded greatly, and this improved maternity issues and early child care issues, which improved the issue of women. And we tried to build for every village 5,000 people. We are a country of about 110 million population, and for every 5,000 people, we tried to build health posts. Mm-hmm. The purpose of this health post is to serve at household level, especially focusing on the need for women, for family planning, maternity issue, other women health issues. For this purpose, for every village, for 5,000 people, Ethiopian government committed itself to recruit, train, and deploy women health agents. The purpose is, number one, to create a job opportunity for women, girls who graduate from high school. Number two, in rural village, women are shy to tell their problem to men. So when we deploy girls, they tell their problem, their pain, and the situation they are in to the girl, women health extension agents. Through this process, the health coverage and the medical situation is improved very much. Before we introduce health extension service, women, they don't want to come to health services to delivery. They wanted to stay at home and they try to give birth at home. This was very dangerous for their health and for their lives. But after we tried to introduce this type of health program, they started to come to health stations and have the service supported by professionals. So this is some way of intervention that Ethiopian government was tried to improve for Ethiopian women, and this is an achievement. Ethiopian women and this achievement. Another area is we have a good mechanism to nominate women for empowerment. For example, we have women president, we have a woman Supreme Court president, that means chief judge. We have 50% of cabinet at the ministerial level, and we have 40% of our parliament are women. Out of 548 seats, 40% of them are women. This is not only for a federal level, we are a federal government, but we have regional government and regional councils or regional parliament. This is similar with all regional cabinets, and the participation is increasing. But this doesn't mean it is enough and we are on the good track. We are on the right way to bring achievements and equality and improve the women participation at all levels. But we need to work very, very, very hard to improve.
Thank you. And last question. Prior to becoming an ambassador, you were a politician and you had many responsibilities, including being the Minister of Agriculture and as Minister of Education, which was from 2013 to 2016. And it goes without saying that education is something Koreans take very seriously, and I'm sure you do too. So while you're in charge of the Ministry of Education, Ethiopia and Korea signed an MOU to strengthen cooperation in the fields of human resource development in science and technology. And you've also spoken at universities in Korea about international cooperation and the role of higher education institutions. So can you please share with us some of the success stories between the two countries in the educational sector and how you think this important area of cooperation should be nurtured?
Thank you for asking me this question. And I would like to start to reply on this question from the quotes once Nelson Mandela had said. I quote, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. This is really a wonderful quote by this great African leader. And the world leader, of course, he was a world leader too. And because I said this is a great quote, because if we see Korean development after Korean liberation, you Koreans focused on universal education from 1948, since from 1948. This universal education coverage brought remarkable change in Korean economic, political, and societal arena. Because of that, in this time, Korea became a one of the global economic powerhouse in the world. So we should learn, and we need to learn how Koreans brought this miraculous economic development in a reasonably short period of time. If we see the details, the details is in education. To innovate or to bring technology from somewhere and to transfer to your situation, education is very important, the powerful instrument. So in the case of Ethiopia, we tried to learn from Korea many things, from your technology, development, innovation. We tried to, from your science and everything, including your curriculum development. So we tried to talk and still taking Korean professors to our universities. And some of Korean professors, they had lead and create science universities in Ethiopia. This is they created this type of situation in Ethiopia, and this is very good for us. So what we wanted to work with Korea, and we needed to work is still we wanted to bring our students to Korean universities. This has two reasons. Number one, to capacitate our citizens and to learn from Koreans and go back and serve in our universities, in our laboratories, and in our institutions. Number two, we learn your culture and discipline, how your intellectuals able to bring this miraculous economic development by leading research, by leading science, by leading technology for your industries. So this is very important, and we try to work and cooperate in this field. That's why I'm trying to reach out some of your higher education institutions to offer us scholarships, not only to teach our students, but to equip our students with technology capacity and the capabilities.
I mean, what is Korea most well known for among your students back home? Is it well known for K-pop or food, or do they know Korea because of the North Korea issues? I'm just curious.
No, Korea is most known in Ethiopia for science and technology,
Oh, interesting.
and for IT and these fields. Of course, K-pop, we appreciate that culture is booming here, and is trying to reach all over the world. But in Ethiopia, mostly Ethiopian youngsters, Ethiopian intellectuals knew Korea about science and technology and IT developments.
That's really interesting to hear. Thank you. And Your Excellency, that completes our session. And I can't believe that we covered all the 5 questions in the small amount of time. And I would like to thank you again for agreeing to for the ambassador interview today. And I really hope that we'll have a time to get together soon for coffee. And
thank you very much.
I am hoping
thank you very much.
To
of
share
course,
Ethiopian coffee with you.
Yes, of course, I'm going to invite Ethiopian coffee, and you will taste Ethiopian coffee.
Great, that sounds great. Thank you again, Ambassador. And until we see each other in person, please stay safe and healthy.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you.